settings, and I'm shooting today on the HD camera. I'm just doing another quick review. I've had a couple different videos I've made for a gun review of the Invert Mini, which I have here. And I'm not really sure if you guys can see my face or not. Yeah, okay, you can. I'm not sure if it's just half my head right now. I'm using an iPhone camera right now to shoot an HD picture so I can get all the good shots of the gun. So, quick overview history of the Invert Mini. It came out early, I think 2006 is when it came out. Not early 2006, but early 2000s, I think, in 2006. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's when it came out. Maybe 2007. Anyway, when they worked well, when you had a good one, it was a fantastic marker to use. But when you had a dud, it was save a brick and throw a mini. I mean, that's the way it was. They were nightmares. The Invert Mini had a couple generations. Not many people were aware of that because they didn't make it a big deal. Like, oh, this is a new generation of Mini. They just sort of, people weren't really aware of the changes. For instance, the original Mini didn't come with a PSP mode on the board, but now this one does, obviously. So this is a recent generation Mini. I think it's the newest, most up-to-date generation. And my initial thoughts and opinions about the Mini is that it is a solid shooting marker that is not worth the price tag. I think that $325 is not a fair price tag for an Invert Mini. I think an Invert Mini should be more like the 300 exactly. I think $25 is $25 too much, I guess is what I'm saying. Cosmetically, the gun is very simple. People shouldn't really care at all about milling in the first place, but milling should not be a make or break if you have a $300 price bracket. It's not going to be fancy. Comes with a clamping feed neck stock, which is nice. Very nice trigger here. I love the magnet return. I know some people are big fans of the spring, and normally I am a big fan of spring return, but this magnet thing is so cool. It's very smooth and very fun to shoot, and when you get a good rhythm going, it rocks. I love it. The one thing that I absolutely hate about this marker, though, is the reg ASA thing here, and it's an ASA reg thing, that's what I'm going to call it, because the design of the Invert Mini is they put all the electronic components up front, made it an optical switchboard, and they ran from the ASA directly through a big tube inside of the grip frame here, straight to the bolt. I don't know what it's called, the expansion chamber and the bolt assembly where the gun fires there. Sorry, I'm really tired. They have the regulator integrated into this piece, so it's a very small regulator in comparison to other setups and stuff, and it runs at about 200 psi, which you monitor here through this gauge. The one thing that I think is unacceptable about this gun is that it doesn't have an on-off option. I think that's unacceptable. I think any gun nowadays that on-off ASAs had become like a staple product of the paintball industry. They need to be coming stock on any gun that's more than $300. That is my opinion. There are guns that are sub $300 that are coming out with on-off ASAs. Now, they could do this bullshit argument where like, oh, well, there's no macro line, I think that makes up for it. No, it doesn't. The Mocal Aura came out, and it does almost the exact same platform as the Mini, where all the electronics are in the front and stuff, and it has an on-off ASA, so there's no excuse. They do sell on-off ASA, so it is possible to make them, and they sell them for $83 aftermarket, unless you buy an Empire Axe, and it comes stock on the Empire Axe, but that's $500. We're talking about a $300 marker here. I do not think it's fair to spend close to $450 if you buy a brand new Mini and that ASA reg thing that they have there, when you could just spend a little more money and get an Empire Axe. That is bullshit. A on-off ASA should come stock on the Mini. End of story, I think. If they need to redesign something so that it makes it more plausible for you to buy an axe to spend the extra money than to just go with a Mini because the on-off ASA would be a selling point, do that. But make it an on-off option switch. Like maybe put a new adapter on the back of the ASA that you unscrew and screw in and whatever, because I don't want to wrench my tank out. That's bullshit. In terms of stock barrel, it's just a stock barrel, micro-honed. I have no idea what the bore size is of this barrel. I'm just going to throw a number at you and say it's 693. I don't know. It's autococker threaded, which means if you have an aftermarket barrel, put it on it, because, I mean, it's a stock barrel, there's nothing special about it. It's a very compact marker. As you can see, I can fit the whole thing inside of the frame here of the camera, and the screen is very small on the iPhone, and the camera doesn't have an incredibly huge wide view with the front-facing camera, because I have the front-facing camera on right now, but I still fit it inside of here. Very small profile, I could hold it in one hand, and it's a snappy little gun. Performs very well, very quirky in programming and operation and stuff, but other than that, solid shooting, reliable marker that anyone should consider if they're trying to move away from, you know, your sear trippers, you know. I would put this in the performance-wise, if you negate this here, because that doesn't do much about performance, so you could screw in the tank and then fill it up with air. Performance-wise, this thing performs like a mid-range marker for a less than mid-range price. My gripes about the ASA and stuff are personal. I think all ASA should be on-off just for safety and just ease. I don't want to wrench my tank out. The features it comes with, you're never going to need really any upgrades and stuff unless you want to get like a new board with an OLED screen or a new trigger or something. But other than that, a lot of the things you won't really need to update. So it performs at a mid-range gun level for a not-so-mid-range gun price, but by no means does it outshoot its competition in the $300 price bracket. The Proto Rail is a solid gun too for the $300 price bracket. I think the Dangerous Power guns are solid guns for the $300 price bracket. I know they have a lot of shitty out-of-box problems and stories and stuff, but all the guns I've ever owned by Dangerous Power are fine. I did own a couple minis prior to this one, but I decided, why not? Let's just get another one. Let's have some fun and play play around with a new mini and stuff. Because I got it used on a deal I could not pass up. I got a mask and a mini for a very nice price. Yeah, I guess that's my only quick review, brief, I guess. Not so brief, we're going at like 8 minutes here, so it's not brief, but comprehensive, no less. Features, I think I covered everything I needed to for the video. If you have any questions, definitely shoot me a comment or a personal message or something. I'll help out. I plan on making more videos about like going into the guts of this gun, bolt assembly, explaining how it works. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is an inline poppet valve. Forgot that. It's an inline poppet gun. So it's got the same efficiency as a poppet valve, sort of, and it has the same smoothness as a spool valve, sort of. If it did have both those things perfectly, every paintball gun ever would be inline poppet. There'd be no reason to have anything. It sort of has kind of elements from both worlds. It's kind of as smooth as a spool valve, but it's still got the springiness of a poppet because there's a spring inside of there. It's a little bit like a phaser system, even though it's not really, but there is still a spring there creating a bit of a snap. And it is as efficient as a poppet, sort of. It's not as efficient, but it's certainly more efficient than your typical dump or spool valve markers. So, yeah. Anyway, getting back to the end of the video, the gun, solid. If you have any questions, shoot me a PM or a comment or something like that. I can answer any questions you have about the Invert Mini. I'm going to be making program videos soon. I'm going to be making bolt assembly, explaining all of this stuff or whatever, and I'm going to be getting inside of this gun pretty soon. So, yeah, I hope the video was informative. Keep being awesome, and be safe. Jesus. I've read too many stories already of people doing stupid shit with paintball guns, so be safe, don't be dumb. Thanks.